What happens when a cartoon known for breaking every rule finally crosses a line even its fans couldn't handle? South Park has built its reputation on chaos, controversy, and comedy that cuts like a knife. But even for a show that thrives on offending everyone equally, there have been moments where the backlash was louder than the laughter. These are the South Park moments that made fans absolutely rage. The episodes, jokes, and storylines that went so far, even diehard viewers said, "Okay, that's too much." It all began in 2001 when South Park decided to parody one of the most beloved childhood icons of all time, Pokémon. The episode, Shinpokomon, mocked Japan's global toy craze, but it wasn't the satire that angered fans, it was the tone. Many viewers thought the exaggerated Japanese accents and World War II references weren't funny, just racist. Some networks even pulled reruns for a while, and American anime fans flooded early internet forums demanding an apology. Trey Parker and Matt Stone never gave one. Instead, they joked that being banned meant they were doing something right. Then came one of the most infamous episodes in the show's history, Trapped in the Closet. Released in 2005, it took aim at both Tom Cruise and the Church of Scientology. The episode mocked the religion's secret teachings and famously ended with the line, "Sue me." Fans were divided. Some called it genius satire. Others said it crossed into religious persecution. The fallout was massive. Isaac Hayes, the voice of Chef and a Scientologist himself, quit the show after years of loyalty. South Park fans split down the middle. Half rallied behind Parker and Stone's right to mock anything. The other half called it betrayal, but South Park didn't slow down. It doubled down. In 2006, the show aired Bloody Mary, an episode where a statue of the Virgin Mary appears to bleed. The joke was a metaphor for society's obsession with miracles, but to many Catholics, it wasn't a joke at all. Religious groups called it disgusting and blasphemous. Protesters gathered outside Comedy Central's headquarters, demanding the episode's removal. Even the Catholic League issued a public statement calling for the network to apologize. Comedy Central refused, but fans in religious circles never forgot it. Just a few years later, the show touched another cultural nerve. The two-part special 200 and 201 promised to revisit every celebrity the show had ever mocked, including Muhammad. The depiction of the prophet sparked outrage instantly. Comedy Central censored the episode heavily, bleeping out his name and covering his image with black bars. Fans were furious on both sides. Some accused the network of cowardice and censorship. Others said the creators were deliberately provoking extremists. The episode was eventually pulled from reruns and streaming services entirely, making it one of the most controversial moments in television history. Then came It Hits the Fan, an episode that seemed like it couldn't possibly cause outrage because it was about a single word: shit. The show said it 162 times on cable TV, completely unfiltered. Some fans found it hilarious and groundbreaking. Others saw it as a sign that the show had lost its subtlety and was now just chasing shock value. The episode broke language taboos, but also split the fan base. Critics argued that South Park was no longer clever, it was just crude. In 2008, the creators took on another sacred institution, the internet. Overlogging mocked society's panic over losing Wi-Fi. But what fans really raged about wasn't the concept, it was the execution. The entire subplot of Randy Marsh doing unspeakable things in front of a computer went viral for all the wrong reasons. Fans called it disgusting, unnecessary, and too gross even for South Park. It became one of the most rewatched and most skipped scenes in the show's history. When Go God Go aired, it triggered a very different kind of outrage. The two-part episode mocked both atheists and religious believers, showing them all as equally ridiculous. Some fans called it genius social commentary. Others felt personally attacked. Internet forums lit up with debates over whether South Park was anti-religion, anti-atheist, or just anti-everyone. The chaos only fueled the show's reputation for starting cultural fires wherever it went. One of the biggest fan explosions came in 2015, during the PC Principle era. The show had built a new storyline mocking political correctness, safe spaces, and social justice culture. For some fans, it was a return to classic South Park, fearless and honest. But for others, it felt bitter and mean-spirited. Many longtime viewers accused Parker and Stone of turning from satire to cynicism, claiming they'd lost touch with modern audiences. The debates online were brutal. Not about jokes anymore, but about what kind of world South Park actually stood for. Then came the pandemic special in 2020, an episode tackling COVID-19 in real time. Fans expected sharp commentary. What they got was something else. The jokes about masks, vaccines, and mental health landed awkwardly for many viewers still living through the crisis. Some said it was too soon. Others accused the show of downplaying real suffering. The episode pulled massive ratings, but also sparked one of the most polarized reactions in years. But the rage wasn't always about big social issues. Sometimes fans were furious for simpler reasons, like character arcs that hit too close to home. In You're Getting Old, Stan becomes cynical and depressed, seeing everything as crap. It was dark, sad, and far more realistic than usual. Fans thought the show was ending for good, or worse, that the creators were saying they hated their own series. Forums filled with panic, speculation, and anger. Even though the next season continued as normal, the emotional whiplash stuck with fans for years. And then there was Scott Tenorman Must Die, one of the most iconic and disturbing episodes ever made. While it's now praised as a masterpiece, at the time, many fans were horrified. The episode ends with Cartman feeding Scott his own parents in chili. It was so dark that even loyal fans questioned whether South Park had gone too far. Early critics accused the show of crossing into psychopathic humor. Parker and Stone called it their favorite episode. Another moment that drew widespread outrage came in Banned in China. South Park roasted Hollywood for censoring itself to please the Chinese government. The episode was instantly banned in China, and Chinese streaming platforms wiped all traces of the show overnight. Fans around the world were torn between pride and frustration. Some praised South Park for standing up to censorship. Others worried it had gone too far and alienated a massive audience permanently. Even storylines about characters sometimes turned fans against the show. When Kenny stopped dying regularly after season 5, longtime viewers complained that the show had lost its heart. When Randy became the main focus during the Tegrity Farm seasons, fans raged that the show had turned from social satire into a running weed joke. And when Token's name was revealed to be Tolkien as a retroactive correction, half the fanbase thought it was clever meta commentary, while the other half called it woke rewriting. And who could forget A Million Little Fibers, the episode that centered entirely on Towelie? Fans were baffled, calling it one of the most pointless and unfunny episodes ever made. Even Trey Parker later admitted it didn't work. Viewers vented online, saying it was the moment South Park stopped being South Park. Ironically, years later, it became a cult favorite for how weirdly offbeat it was. But no South Park controversy topped the chaos around Cartoon Wars. The two-part episode satirizing Family Guy and the media's fear of depicting Muhammad. Comedy Central's decision to censor the image infuriated fans. To them, it wasn't just about one joke, it was about creative freedom. The creators' battle with the network became almost as famous as the episode itself. Fans flooded message boards calling the censorship the death of comedy. By now, South Park has offended nearly every group imaginable, and somehow it's still going. For every moment that made fans rage, another moment made them laugh harder than ever. That's the paradox of the show. Its ability to make everyone angry is exactly what's kept it alive, because South Park doesn't just test limits, it erases them. And even when fans rage, protest, or swear they'll never watch again, they always come back. After all, that's the magic of a show that's equal. Parts brilliant and brutal. It doesn't ask for your approval, just your attention. And if there's one thing South Park has proven over the years, it's that sometimes rage is the best sign you're doing something right.